liquor store boxes is that they only have so many, and they're small.
They're all small, exactly. And so what we've done is we've partnered with different types of businesses, from retail to industrial, to collect boxes, and then we match those boxes in volume to traditional moving boxes. The dimensions may not be exactly the same, but we do our best to match them in volume, and we package them and sell them to the customer. And moms really like us because we do deliver to people's homes. The delivery price is built into our package prices, which are on our website. And if you have small children or a small car, you know it's very, very hard to go out and get enough boxes for a move.
It's very true.
But they have all the different sizes. They've got the wardrobe boxes. They've got the and those wardrobe boxes. I mean, I know they don't hold that many clothes.
No, and they're so expensive at U-Haul. I mean,
Not with us.
I just wanted to. I was like, are these clothes really worth moving? Was kind of where I was around my third, what was it, $30 wardrobe box. It was ridiculous.
Yes,
exactly.
So give an example. That was an example I asked you.
The 24-inch wardrobe boxes are $7.99.
That's just a steal.
It's a good price. 18 to 20-inch are $6.99, and then we actually get smaller ones, which are really perfect for people who want to put a few precious items in a wardrobe box, and those are $5.99. They're 16-inch. And so that's the other thing is that, we run into this perception that, well, if they're green, they're more expensive, and that's absolutely not the case.
That is generally the case, because they have to go an extra step. But by working the partnership, which is the ultimate strategic.
Ultimate strategic alliance. Yeah.
And I feel like probably Walmart doesn't want to throw them out, because all they need is some camera back there going, look at them. Not only do they
Walmart recycles
mass,
everything. The bigger companies recycle. They can afford to have the baler, and all that kind of thing. It's the smaller retail operations that really don't have access to that, and so we've focused on smaller retailers because, Target and Walmart, they're recycling. That's what we want. We want that cardboard not to go in the landfill, and they're baling, so everything's crushed, but that does that's also green because it reduces the amount of freight transport back and forth. So they're doing a commendable job, and I really appreciate that. But the smaller retailers don't have many options, and as you know, operating a small business, you're always on the margin.
Right.
And recycling is one of those things that can kind of go by the wayside. It's not required, and it is expensive.
Well, especially if I have to pay for it as a small business, that becomes a challenge.
But when I met her, we had moved. I had to move because of my floors and everything, and they just boxes everywhere. And my husband said, I didn't want to throw them away because they're good boxes.
Right.
And I was like, that's about the time I met her, and they were already in the front to be picked up. And so that was killing me inside, going, could I?
What you mean.
I didn't want to necessarily sell them, but I'm like, these are good boxes, because they'd been used once, and that's exactly people that you even take boxes in good condition boxes back from the people that have bought them from you. But also, would you take somebody that had U-Haul boxes?
Yes, absolutely. We have a buyback program. There's actually a page on our website, which is www.treehuggerboxes.com. If you look on the left-hand side, there's a buyback page. And that gives our schedule of prices that we pay for the boxes. Now, that is contingent on the people bringing them to us, and they can call to make arrangements to do that, and then we pay them on the spot for the boxes. So that's a great way to get rid of them if you don't want to list them on Craigslist. Occasionally, we are able to pick up boxes. We're not able to do it as much as we used to just because of the volume of calls that we've received. But do call us, and we're usually able to work something out. But when we pick up, because of the cost, we have employees, we have to pay gas and all that. In that case, it would be a matter of donation. But they are going to be reused, which is a good thing.
And I think that's the motivation.
Right. I mean, how many boxes did I sit around with in my garage? I mean, probably a quarter of my garage just filled up with these things because I didn't want to throw them away.
Right.
I would be happy to donate them. It's like Goodwill or Salvation Army. Here's my nasty couch. I don't want it anymore. I don't want to put it on the curb, and Lord knows I don't want strange people coming over.
I'm dealing with a piano. I'm dealing with a piano that was my grandmother's, and it just does. I don't want to.
Oh, now there I may have a place for you to donate that.
I want to donate it. I don't want to sell it because it has I want to go with the heart of the person that had it. My
Right,
grandmother who
exactly.
loved music. So,
Right.
but but I'm not comparing that to
Right.
boxes, but yeah, we keep a lot of stuff.
The same motivation though is that
That's a
we
good
keep this
box.
stuff in our garage and it's cluttering up our lives, and we really had no intention of making money on it. But I don't want to throw all this stuff out into my landfill. I don't want my city to come pick it up on bulk day.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally would be almost embarrassed to have that stuff out on bulk day, because then my neighbors would see it. And what a horrible corporate citizen, and what a horrible
I
just
didn't even think about
person
that.
I would be. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, plus they're going through people. I don't know about your neighborhood, but they go through my stuff on the front, and they will make a mess. So when you put those boxes out there, sometimes it's not. Let me put it this way: I already had them out there, and so I didn't get them to her. Yeah. But the mess that was left from the people going through the stuff.
Now you know.
Right.
Now
I've got
you
more
know.
boxes, but those were just those were the ones my husband could pry away from me, because I'm one of those people that something could go in that. So I think that the motivation, and also, but the thing is, it's not just motivation when you buy these things from her. It's
that's pure self-interest at that
Yeah.
point, because at $35 for a wardrobe box, and what was yours, $6.99, $7.99?
$7.99.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, is we're going to save customers about 50% off the cost of new, and we really do. We're doing everything we can.
Tell her that story. Tell the story that we talked about this was kind of that happened that made her feel really good, because again, she's
yes.
very motivated by this, the plan. I wrote a bunch of stuff down because you had such good stuff at your website, and I would suggest that anybody go to her website, treehuggerboxes.com, and look at everything. But tell me the story that made you feel that you had done something. And
there have been times when I've wondered, because we don't get calls from every customer that uses our boxes to pick them back up or to get them returned. And there have been times when I've wondered, are we really, I know we're helping because the boxes are getting used a second time. And I do want to say that recycling is great, but it also has a carbon footprint associated with it. So our goal is to try to get reusable boxes used as many times as possible before they are, no longer sturdy enough to be used. We had a guy call, he was not a customer of ours, and he said, I need you to, I have a bunch of boxes, can you come pick them up? And it was along a delivery route, and I said, sure, we can get them, just, leave them out on your porch. And so we went by, and I almost started crying when we picked them up, because they were boxes I'd sold to somebody else a year before when we first started. And I knew it because the boxes, our first big haul, so to speak, of boxes were some boxes that DHL facility was they were going to throw them away.
Wow.
And we went and got them, and those were the first boxes we sold. And they had a special marking on them because they'd been bought for a special purpose. And I sold 1,900 of those boxes.
Oh my goodness.
In 3 months. And they were huge. They were 3 foot by 2 foot, so very distinctive. There were 8 of those boxes mixed in, and when I saw those, I knew that these were boxes I'd sold to someone. And then I started looking, and I was like, yes, I know this company, and I know this company, and those were our boxes. Wow. And so what I'm saying, my point is that somebody had bought them from us and then passed them along to
because
somebody else.
They were recycled.
Yes, and that to me, I was like, thank you, because